Welcome to Kole Math Lab. Today we are looking at matrices. Matrices. So let's start. Now when we say matrix, we are looking at the definition of matrix. So by the end of this session, you should be able to identify what a matrix is, and then the order of matrix, types of matrix, and then we proceed from there. So when I say matrix, the simplest is a matrix is a rectangular arrangement of numbers, symbols, or expressions arranged in rows and columns. So when you're talking about matrix, you're talking about an arrangement of numbers. Let's put it at the simple stage. Arrangement of what? Number symbols. Okay. So and always it is written in these two brackets, either this or that. So whenever you see arrangement of numbers in something like this, it's not a matrix. It must be this form or this form. So that is a matrix, and widely used in mathematics, science, and computing application. I have some students sometimes ask, why are we learning these topics for? If I become a doctor, I will not be asked to do this and so on. So these are applied in our daily life. Okay, so I'm talking about the matrix when it comes to real life situation. Classroom arrangement or classroom setting is typical example of matrix. And then let's take milk. Okay, the kettle of milk is also a typical example of what? Arranging items. Okay, so let's proceed. We have this as a type of examples of matrix. Examples of matrix. We have one, we have the two, example 2, we have the example 3 here. So you see it is in the bracket of this. This one is the row market, and this one is a column market. And don't forget that, or note that the numbers in the matrix and the numbers in the brackets, okay, the numbers in the brackets, we call it entry or the element. Okay, so numbers or entries in a bracket form like this is the matrix. Okay, so now how to identify a matrix? Okay, so we use row and column to identify a matrix, row and the column. So let's move on. Now we have the row here, that is the horizontal array, and then the vertical column here is the what? The columns. So now the one thing you have to note is that commas are not used in matrices. We don't use commas in matrices, but we leave what? Gaps. Example. So you can't say this is a matrix. You can't say this is a matrix because of the comments that we have it here. Matrix, we just only leave gaps. We leave gaps for matrix. So you have to note that one too. Now let's proceed. Now you are taking this real life application of matrix. Okay, as we said, matrix can represent data such as student score, businesses, or certain arrangements. Okay, business, when it comes to business, when you are buying an item, you'll be given invoice and so on. So the invoice, you see the items over here, the unit price and the total price, okay, arranged in a rectangular array or arrangement. So let's take this question. It says that a school records the number of boys and girls in 2 classes. Class A, 12 boys, 10 girls. Class B, 12 boys, 11 girls. So represent this information in a matrix form. So if a question like this is given to, the first thing you have to do is that you draw a table. So we have a nice table here. We have the boys, we have the girls, class A and the B. So class A, 12 boys, 10 girls. Class B, 9 boys, 11 girls. Then to arrange it or represent it in a matrix form, this is how we arrange it. So here will be the boys and here will be the girls. So how many rows here? 2 rows. How many columns here? We have 2 columns. Now let's proceed. Now the next thing we are going to talk about is the order of matrix. Order of a matrix. When you say order of a matrix, we are talking about how to describe a matrix. Okay, describe the number of rows and then the columns. Okay, so it is written as rows by columns. The sign here, you don't say times, you say by. Okay, so let's take the first example. So whenever you see a matrix in this form, AB is, so you pronounce it or you read it 1 by 2 matrix, because always you have to pronounce the row first. You see the row first before the column. So we have how many rows? 1 row and then 2 columns. So 1 by 2 matrix. So when you have an example like this one is also 1 by 2. 1 by 2 matrix. Okay, so that is how to describe a matrix. The next one is we have this A and B here. So how many rows? We have 1, 2 rows. So how do you say it? That is 2 by 1. That's the vertical S1, that's the column S1. So we read 2 by 1 matrix. And this one is 2 by 2, 2 rows, 2 columns, 2 by 2 matrix. That's how to describe the matrix. Then this one is 2 by 3 matrix. 2 rows, 3 columns. 2 rows, 3 columns. Now let's take this practical question. Let's take this practical question. So you are using just 30 seconds to do this. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So let's proceed. It says that a shop records the number of pens and books sold in 2 days. Okay, so we have Monday and Tuesday. Pens sold on Monday is 11, books 8, Tuesday pens 9, and the books 10. We have to represent the information as a matrix. So you draw your table nice as we did the first one. We have the second question here. Find the order of each matrix, the order. Okay, the order of these matrices. So A, what is the order of this matrix? B, what is the order of this matrix? C, what is the order of this matrix? So let's look at the answer here. So you draw a nice table, pen and a book. Monday 11 pens, 8 books. Tuesday 9 pens and 10 books. So represent it in matrix form. So that is how it is. Or you can also use 11 here, 8, 9, 10. So there is the matrix form. And then for the number 2, example 2, this one is 2 by 3 matrix. This one is 2 by 2 matrix. And this one is 3 by 1 matrix. 3 by 1 matrix. So there is the answer for the order. Now we have types of matrices. We have types. So we are looking at the types here. We have so many types. So let's take our time and go through. The first type is what? Square matrix. Square matrix. Matrix having the same rows and column. We call it what? Square matrix. So example, we have 2 by 2, the same, and then 3 by 3 matrix is an example of what? Square matrix. Then we have rectangular matrix where the rows and the columns are not the same. Okay, where the rows and the columns are not the same. So you have 2 by 3 matrix and you have 3 by 2 matrix which are not the same. We have a zero matrix. When you're talking about a zero matrix, it means that the elements in the brackets are all 0. Okay, they are all 0. So AB is a typical example of zero matrix, and then we have this one too, is a zero matrix. So let's look at these examples here. So which of the following matrix is is or are zero matrix? Which of these? So let's check. When you take A, is A zero matrix? Yes. But when you subtract x from x, k is 0. When you subtract b from b, you get 0. So A is a matrix. B, is B a matrix? No, it's not a matrix. And then C2 is a matrix. When you subtract m from m, will give us 0. So that is a zero matrix. Zero matrix. Okay, so the next one is the equality of matrix. Equality of matrix. When I say a matrix is equal, it's whereby the elements of the left hand side and the right hand side supposed to be equal, and equal signs are used to indicate it. So when you take this example, A, B, C, D is equal to the other side. So it means that the corresponding element here, A, is equal to the B. They are the same. B is equal to F. So, and the C is equal to G, D is equal to H, as stated here. So when you take this one, like when a question like this is given to you, and you are asked to find A from this. So to find A means that the A here is equal to 2, B here is equal to 3, C here is equal to 4, and the D here is equal to 5. So this is equality of matrix. So let's end the lesson here, and then the next video will be examples under equality and the zeros of matrix. So follow the page and let's solve the examples together. The next meeting we will continue with the types of matrix before we move on to the addition of matrix. Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you share to a colleague for him to also benefit. Thank you very much.